is totally corrupt. Get that through your head. It has to be. There's fraud. They found him in creeks. They found some with the name Trump just the other day in a waste paper basket. All of the things that are happening with votes by mail, I'm not going to say which party does it, but thousands of votes are gathered and they come in and they're dumped in a location, and then all of a sudden you lose elections that you think you're going to win.
So that right there is an ad that was not in fact put out by a MAGA group, despite the branding. It was put out by the Democratic-aligned Pennsylvania Values Super PAC. And they're just using quotes from Donald Trump of the many that he has given attacking mail-in voting. And they're using it to try to discourage Pennsylvania Republicans from voting by mail because it's incredibly corrupt, as I've often heard.
The video will continue in just a moment. But first, I have a message for you. TYT needs your help. Membership is vital to survival, so please go to tyt.com/team and become a member today.
Now, the Trump team is not at all happy about this. In fact, they're saying that they might sue. They sent this cease and desist letter to the group saying, "We are aware of your advertisement falsely claiming that President Trump has asked Pennsylvania voters not to vote by mail." We'll return to that in a second. This advertisement may constitute both a criminal and civil conspiracy to injure the rights of President Trump's supporters to cast their ballots in Pennsylvania. Cease and desist broadcasting or otherwise distributing via the internet or elsewhere this false advertisement immediately, and preserve all relevant documents in anticipation of likely litigation. Okay, so they have apparently argued that this is a violation of the Ku Klux Klan Act, which they now care about. It's designed to stop Americans from experiencing political intimidation, which was obviously a thing that was actually done by conservatives, by racists who, to the extent that they're still alive, are definitely voting MAGA. So they did say there, though, that they want the group to keep all the documentation ready, and we decided to help prep for this case. So if we can bring this up, here's some of the relevant documentation. It's just some of the many tweets that Donald Trump has put out attacking mail-in voting. They should fight very hard when it comes to mail-in voting. Democrats are clamoring for it. Tremendous potential for voter fraud. It substantially increases the risk of crime and voter fraud. It'll lead to massive crime and abuse. It will lead to the end of our great Republican Party. We can never let this tragedy befall our nation. Okay, so maybe we can submit those as evidence for the case. But I do want to talk about this because, Sharon, we're concerned about, like deep fakes and things, putting words into the mouths of politicians. To be clear, the only person who put those words into Trump's mouth is Trump. He said all of those things. He tweeted all of those things. And they say there that they're falsely implying that he's asked Pennsylvania voters not to vote by mail. In none of those quotes did it say specifically he's now saying Pennsylvania specific voters don't vote in this election. All they did was play publicly available video of him. All those quotes are honest. So should we have any problem with this? What do you think?
No, I mean, it's truth in advertising. I think it passes all of the tests. He said it, perhaps he doesn't remember. I think he does. And he might say it again tomorrow, by the way. I mean, he's a very inconsistent guy. But if you live by the sword, you die by the sword. These are his words, as you said, that he hatched that really dumb plan about mail-in voting and how to disenfranchise people and discourage people. And he still can't live it down. And why should we allow him to? Oh, I'm gonna sue. Okay, he's good at that, but he doesn't have a good track record with it. So bring it on.
Yeah, he's very good at launching lawsuits. Recently not that great at winning them, but and look, that you brought up the origin of all of this. He decided in much the same way that he decided in 2020 that rather than safeguarding American lives, he was just going to give in to COVID or whatever. He just decided months and months and months before the election, all of these different techniques that I could encourage my base to use and that would increase the number of votes I'd get. No, I surrender on that. I'm a whiny little baby. I don't want to try. So I'm just going to tell everyone that it's corrupt. Early voting is corrupt and mail-in voting is corrupt, even though he literally votes by mail every cycle. And so he told Republicans that because he's saying it, every other Republican has to agree, at least publicly, that that is true. And so they've encouraged people that it's corrupt. And so he lost the 2020 election. I will remind you, it was such a close election. It is entirely conceivable that if instead he had encouraged his base to use those techniques, he might be in the White House right now. But he put himself in this position where years later, many Republicans still believe the lies that he told them about early voting and mail-in voting and all of that. To the GOP base, according to a recent study by the Election Law Journal, they're still skeptical of mail-in voting multiple elections later. During a Trump rally in Pennsylvania, again, Pennsylvania, GOP officials tried handing out mail-in ballots to use it as a way to encourage more voting. A local party official told NBC News, "I tried to give them a mail-in ballot application and could only get out about 300. Every one of them said either, no, that's not the right way to vote, or Trump does not agree with it." It's totally legal. It's totally secure. There are red states that only use mail-in voting and have for decades. It's not some new technology or whatever. They didn't come up with it on Queer Eye 2 seasons ago. It's an established way that many people vote, including Donald Trump and his family. And now they have made their bed in the same way that they told their base not to vaccinate, and many of them died as a result of that. They told them not to vote by mail, and now they don't want to. And Laura Trump can try at this late date to encourage them otherwise. But this is the bed that Trump made, and now he needs to get into it with his base or something. I don't know. It falls apart at that point. Members make a difference here at TYT. You help make the show happen, and we see you in the chat with your loyalty badge. Click the join button to become a member today.